Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly commodities update video. This is where we do analysis on natural gas, oil, US dollar, gold, and silver. We'll be looking at their support and resistance levels, as well as the most likely scenario where price potentially head to for their next week. And if you guys are looking for the stock market update video, check out the video from yesterday where I did the S&P 500 QQ, as well as the Mag 7s. And let's get started on natural gas. All right, so it looks like we are doing pretty well for the bulls recently. So last 2 weeks ago, I talked about that we're likely going to get a bull move, and then we got a break of close to 16%. So that's a nice move. For congrats to all you bulls out there who played this falling wedge bull break. And now let's take a look where potentially resistance might be and where it potentially might pull back. So on Sunday last week, I talked about where we might get a slight pullback here, and what I want to see from the bulls. It's just a slight pullback and see if they can make a higher low, which they ended up doing, which is a good sign. So they ended up making their first higher low, which is the shift of a change from this entire downtrend, right? So on a downtrend, they make lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows, right? Lower high just means the high is lower than the prior pivots. And for the first time here, the higher low, which means this low, is higher than the prior low. The first pivot we form, we also broke above the prior high. So this is a uptrend confirmed. So now we have a higher low and higher high. So now the question is, can bulls follow through? All right, we just hit a little bit of resistance here, and which is pretty much these lows, prior highs, right? Prior lows, support, resistance, support. Price is below it, coming towards it. Now it's acting as resistance. Price was above it. Now it's acting as support. So a lot of support and resistance around this levels, which is what we've kind of been getting through for the last 3 days, right? Super clear triple top for the last 3 days. So what I want to see is, can the bulls get over here? If they can, then we're looking back up to this 3.2. If they can get over 3.2, we're looking back up closer to 3.3. I just want to, so we can start zooming out now as well, right? Where bulls made their first step to confirm a daily uptrend. So now we can start zooming out to look at the weekly. So what I want to see from the weekly is bulls making a little bit more space, right? 15% is quite a bit of space, but I want to see if they can confirm a weekly uptrend here. If they can, then that's a shift in the longer term picture, and that we may potentially come back a little bit higher into the 3.3s and 3.4s if we can get a weekly uptrend going. That being said, we are underneath a lot of resistance, right? See this, all these volume. This is volume profiles. Just means that in this price range, we have all these volumes here, and price is below it. So currently it's acting as resistance, which we saw in the last 3 days. That's 3.13 resistance that we can go over 3 days is what currently this whole chunk is. So yeah, so that's bulls got their first step on the daily uptrend. So let's see if they can confirm weekly uptrends and continuing follow through. Otherwise, this will just be a longer term monthly bear flag, right? Now we zoom out to the monthly chart. We got this beautiful bull move up. Right, huge move up, gave back pretty much 90% of it, right? And this could just be a monthly bull flag, bear flag, sorry. Right, we zoom, measure from top to the bottom. Let me delete that real quick. Measure from top to the bottom. Even if we bounce all the way to here, this 3.8 is this could be a monthly bear flag. So keep on watching that, and just in case, but if the bulls can confirm a weekly uptrend here, the chances of that being a monthly bear flag decreases. So let's see if bulls can step up first. Yeah, it's not a weekly bear flag anymore. So measure from the top of the move, which is right here, to the bottom of the move. Actually, I take that back. This could be it. I mean, we're just shy on it, so this could still be a weekly bear flag. We did poke above it, so we don't have to be perfect, but you guys get the idea. Bear flag just means it's a weak bounce. If you want to be textbook picture perfect, you're not supposed to get over this yellow box. It's 38.2% bounce, which we did, but even if we pull over back here, I would still call it a weekly bear flag because it's a weak bounce. So let's see if bulls can show up, break this 3.1, negate the weekly bear flag, give us that weekly uptrend. Ideally, best case is we bounce over 50%. When we bounce over 50%, it gives up more space for that weekly uptrend. All right, let's take a look at the oil. And if you guys learn, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Always helps the channel out, and appreciate it. Let's continue on with oil. So oil, yeah, let's talk about this for many weeks now. That I say I wouldn't touch this. It's not really a great trade. Just goes completely sideways, and then all of a sudden makes these big random moves both directions. No clear trend either. I just call it a range trade, essentially. Right? You can get in the bottom of the range for longs, top of the range for shorts. That's about it. Otherwise, yeah. That being said, let's see what the weekly is doing. If the bears can break here, so this is a weekly bear flag, right? This one. I wouldn't actually this negated it, but this is a weak bounce. Confirm a weekly downtrend, no follow through. And now it's trying to do that again. So bears can confirm a weekly downtrend here, crack below this 61. $61 is the gateway to this low structure right here. So if it cracks through 61, we're going to visit this structure again. So there's a good chance we come down to 59 and then 56 if they can crack 61. If they don't crack 61 and this gets a double bottom bounce again, then this will continue to be a ping pong range trade. And this from this 61 close to 68, 70 range here. All right, let's take a look at dollar. Yeah, just doing nothing here. That's not surprising with all the economic stuff going on, rate cuts, all that kind of stuff. This indecision currently. So no trade for me in the dollar either, right? Nobody's want to trade in this kind of a chip chop zone. No clear trend either. We had a clear uptrend here, and I give it most of it back, and then we just chip chop, which is actually good for the bears, right? This is looking like a monthly bear flag. Yeah, it's a weak, really weak bounce. It's about a 25% bounce of this whole move, and it's shaping up almost like a monthly bear flag. So if we break this low, there's not much below us. Break this monthly at this $96 low, we're gonna come visit around this 94. So be careful if you're dollar bull here. But yeah, no clear trend at this moment. Yeah, I wouldn't touch it either because I don't like anything that doesn't have clear trend. Just play something that's clear like this, right? So gold, super clear. We are talking about this ascending. Let me do that real quick. We're talking about this ascending triangle for a very long time, chip chopping, and everybody sees this resistance, right? This 3.531. So we're talking about if this breaks out, it's likely to get a big move because it has been consolidating for a very long time. So the longer it consolidates, the better it is. It just gears up for a bigger move. Yeah, so no signs of red flag. You can see Thursday's low was back test of pretty much this puny high. Didn't even come back to back test here. Sometimes it's pretty good if you have come back test here and then bulls get a second chance to get back in, but it looks like it didn't give anybody a second chance to get it. You would have gone in right when it broke out on Tuesday. Yeah, so we're at all-time highs, so there's no resistance, and we got a beautiful breakout. I mean, you can still come back and back test and bounce. So what do you want to see as a bear? But which I wouldn't want to be a bear, especially when something is at all-time highs. Talked about this a lot. When there is no resistance, you could have been a bear here, right there when there was clear resistance, and then you cover these lows, and then you manage it in between here. But once it breaks out, then there's no point shorting it. No point fighting the trend as well, because there's no resistance. Okay, where are you gonna put your stop loss when you short here, right? Let's say you shorted here on Friday, all-time high. Where you're gonna put your stop loss. So that being said, and let's see if we got a back test. That'd be nice, and then bounce higher. Let's see the weekly. Yeah, a lot of space, right? 3 weeks green. Even if we pull back to this 35.34 to back test, there's just a lot of space for that weekly higher low and higher high. And for bears, you would want to see it give back pretty much all of this gain, kind of like that. But it ended up being a fake out, like a fake breakout, which kind of, I mean, no, we're not gonna say it's not gonna happen, but at the moment, no signs of that yet. Zero signs of that yet. If that does happen, and we pull all the way back here, then that might shape out potential head and shoulders. But that's a big ask to say that it's gonna give all this back. But never say never. But so the first red flag is if when we do back test 3.532 and it doesn't hold, and we crack back through down below it. So that would be the red flag initially. By the moment, it hasn't even back tested yet. So, all right. So silver. So we talked about this, saying what I want to see for silver bulls is when gold breaks out. So talking about this last week, saying the only resistance I see is silver is gold, because talked about this, saying I don't count this 2012 ish action as any kind of resistance, because this is just way too long ago. So I'll just count this as blue sky breakout, all-time highs, right? And so the only resistance I see, I talked about this last week, saying is gold. So if gold breaks out, silver's going to make a huge pop. So which is what we got. And let's see if there's relative strength. Slight relative strength at the moment, but slowing down a little bit last day. So on Friday, it's relative weaker, as well as since the last 3 days. So on this way up, there is slight relative strength, but now on the last 3 days, it's not. It's starting to slow down a bit. So relative weakness versus gold in the last 3 days. So gold will probably get some kind of consolidation. Just a healthy consolidation just means healthy pullback. And so when gold gets a healthy pullback, you want to see if silver's relative weakness, which is the last 3 days, going to pick up and shift a little bit into relative strength. So when gold pulls back, you want to see kind of silver like just holding sideways. But if gold starts pulling back and silver's relative weakness continues and it gives it all the way back, then you don't want to be a bull here anymore. But so currently it's showing a little bit of relative weakness here for the last 3 days. But no huge red flags at the moment. The only red flag I talked about is that if when gold gets a healthy pullback, you don't want to see this give it all back. But ideally, we got a back test, right? Let's say gold comes back to here, 35.28, and silver comes back to close to this $40 range, back test these prior highs, and then bounce together. That'd be the most ideal case for bulls. Most ideal case for bears, break through both of those supports as well, come back to these 38 and 34, 13 zone for gold. All right, that's it got for you guys. If you guys want to learn more in depth about techno analysis on nuances, check out the Patreon link for more one-on-ones. And I'll see you guys for next week for more updates. Have a great rest of you guys' weekend.